Namaste Nrsimhaya. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha Shilatakanakhalaye Ito Nrsimha Parato Nrsimha Yato Yato Yamitato Nrsimha Mahira Nrsimha Hriraya Nrsimha Nrsimhamadim Sarana Prapadye Tavakara Kamalavare Nakamanvita Sringantalita Hiranyakashipu Tanupinga Kesharadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Maharaj ki
Jai.
Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Jai. Gauranga
Gauranga.
Gauranga
Krishna,
Krishna 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 He Krishna 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 He Krishna 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 Rakshamam Krishna 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 Bahimam Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rakshamam Krishna Kesava Krishna Kesava Krishna Kesava Bahimam.
So we're reading Krishna book in chapter 54, Pradyumna born to Krishna and Rukmini. Who is this beautiful young boy? This is Rukmini looking at Pradyumna. Who is this beautiful young boy? He appears to be the most beautiful person. Who is the fortunate young woman able to conceive this nice boy in her womb and become his mother? And who is that young woman who has accompanied him? How they met? Remembering my own son who was stolen from the maternity home, I can only guess that if he is living somewhere, he might have grown up by this time to be like this boy. Simply by intuition, Rukmini could understand that Pradyumna was her own lost son. She could also observe that Pradyumna resembled Lord Krishna in every respect. She was struck with wonder as to how he acquired all the symptoms of Krishna. She therefore began to think more confidently that the boy must be her own grown-up son because she felt much affection for him, and, as an auspicious sign, her left arm was trembling. At that very moment, Lord Krishna, along with his father and mother, Devaki and Vasudeva, appeared on the scene. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, could understand everything, yet in that situation he remained silent. However, by the desire of Lord Krishna, the great sage Narada also appeared, and he disclosed all the incidents. How Pradyumna had been stolen from the maternity home, and how he had grown up and had come there with his wife, Mayavati, who had formerly been Rati, the wife of Cupid. When everyone was informed of the mysterious disappearance of Pradyumna and how he had grown up, they were all struck with wonder, because they had gotten back their dead son, after they were almost hopeless of his return. When they understood that it was Pradyumna who was present, they received him with great delight, one after another. All of the members of the family, Devaki, Vasudeva, Lord Krishna, Lord Sri Krishna, Lord Balaram, Rukmini, and all the women in the family embraced both Pradyumna and his wife, Mayavati. When the news of Pradyumna's return spread all over the city of Dwarka, all the astonished citizens came with great anxiety to see the lost Pradyumna. The dead son has come back, they said. What can be more pleasing than this? Srila Sukadeva Goswami has explained that in the beginning, all the residents of the palace, who were all mothers and stepmothers of Pradyumna, mistook him to be Krishna and were all bashful, infected by the desire for conjugal love. The explanation is that Pradyumna's personal appearance was exactly like Krishna's, and he was
factually Cupid himself. There was no cause of astonishment, therefore, when the mothers of Pradyumna and the other woman mistook him in that way. It is clear from the statement that Pradyumna's bodily characteristics were so similar to Krishna's that he was mistaken to be Krishna even by his mother. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 54th chapter of Krishna Pradyumna, born to Krishna and Rukmini. Chapter 55.
Oi.
The story of the Shyamataka jewel. There was a king of the name Satrajit, with the jurisdiction of Dwarakadham. Within the jurisdiction of Dwarakadham, he was a great devotee of the sun god, who awarded him the benediction of a jewel known as Shyamantaka. Because of this Shyamantaka jewel, there was a misunderstanding between King Satrajit and the Yadu dynasty. Later, the matter was settled when Satrajit voluntarily offered Krishna his daughter, Satyabhama, along with the jewel Shyamantaka. Not only Satyabhama, but also Jambavati, the daughter of Jambavan, was married to Krishna on account of the Shyamantaka jewel. These two marriages took place before the appearance of Pradyumna, as described in the last chapter of Volume 1. How King Satrajit offended the Yadu dynasty. How is it called? Dynasty or dynasty?
Dynasty.
Dynasty, not dynasty.
But both are okay,
Both are
but
okay.
dynasty is more
Dynasty.
common.
And how he later came to his senses and offered his daughter and the Shyamantaka jewel to Krishna is described as follows. Since he was a great devotee of the sun god, King Satrajit gradually entered into a very friendly relationship with him. The sun god was pleased with him and delivered to him an exceptional jewel known as Shyamantaka. When Satrajit wore this jewel in a locket around his neck, he appeared exactly like an imitation sun god. Putting on this jewel, he would enter the city of Dwaraka, and people would think that the sun god had come in the city to see Krishna. They knew that Krishna, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was sometimes visited by the demigods. So, while Satrajit was visiting the city of Dwaraka, all the inhabitants except
Krishna, except Krishna, took him to be the sun god himself. Although King Satrajit was known to everyone, he could not be recognized because of the dazzling effulgence of the Shamantaka jewel. Once, mistaking Satrajit to be the sun god, some of the important citizens of Dwarka immediately went to Krishna to inform him that the sun god had arrived to see him. At that time, Krishna was playing chess. One of the important residents of Dwarka spoke thus: "My dear Lord Narayana, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In your plenary portion as Narayana or Vishnu, you have four hands with different symbols: conch shell, disc, club, and lotus flower. You're actually the owner of everything, but in spite of your being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, you descended in Vrindavan to act as a child of Yashodamata, who sometimes used to tie you up with her ropes, and you are celebrated, therefore, by the name Damodar. That Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, as accepted by the citizens of Dwarka, was later confirmed by the great Mayavadi philosopher leader Shankaracharya. By accepting the Lord as impersonal, he did not reject the Lord's personal form. Everything which has form in this material world is subject to creation, maintenance, and annihilation, but because the Supreme Personality of God and Narayana does not have a material form subject to these limitations, Shankaracharya, to convince the less intelligent man who take Krishna to be an ordinary human being, said that God is impersonal. This impersonality means that he is not a person of this material condition. He is a transcendental personality without a material body. The citizens of Dwarka addressed Lord Krishna not only as Damodar, but also as Govinda, which indicates that Krishna is very affectionate to the cows and calves. And just to refer to their intimate connection with Krishna, they addressed him as Yadunandana, because he was born the son of Vasudev in the Yadu dynasty. In this way, the citizens of Dwarka concluded that they were addressing Krishna as the Supreme Master of the whole universe. They addressed Krishna in many different ways, proud of being citizens of Dwarka who could see Krishna daily. When Satrajit was visiting the city of Dwarka, the citizens felt great pride to think that although Krishna was living in Dwarka like an ordinary human being, the demigods were coming to see him. Thus they informed Lord Krishna that the sun god, with his
appealing bodily effulgence, was coming to see him. The citizens of Dwarka confirmed that the sun god's coming to Dwarka was not very wonderful, because people all over the universe who were searching after the Supreme Personality of Godhead knew that he had appeared in the family of the Yadu dynasty and was living in Dwarka as one of the members of that family. Thus the citizens expressed their joy on this occasion. On hearing the statements of his citizens, the all-pervasive personality of Godhead, Krishna, simply smiled. Being pleased with the citizens of Dwarka, Krishna informed them that the person they described as the sun god was actually King Satrajit, who had come to visit Dwarka city to show his opulence in the form of the valuable jewel obtained from the sun god. Satrajit, however, did not come to see Krishna. He was instead overwhelmed by the jewel Shamyataka. He installed the jewel in the temple to be worshipped by Brahmins. Brahmins engaged for this purpose. This is an example of a less intelligent person worshipping a material thing. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that less intelligent persons, in order to get immediate results from their fruitive activities, worship the demigods created within this universe. The word materialist means one concerned with gratification of the senses within this material world. Although Krishna later asked for this Shamataka jewel, King Satrajit did not deliver it. On the contrary, he installed the jewel for his purposes of worship. And who would not worship that jewel? The Shamataka jewel was so powerful that daily it produced a large quantity of gold. The quantity of gold is counted by a measurement called a bara. According to Vedic formulas, 1 bara equals 16 pounds of gold, and 1 mound equals 82 pounds. The jewel was producing about 170 pounds of gold each day. Besides that, it is learned from great Vedic literature that in whatever part of the world this jewel was worshipped, there was no possibility of famine, and wherever the jewel was present, there was no possibility of anything inauspicious, such as pestilence or disease. Lord Krishna wanted to teach the world that the best of everything should be offered to the ruling chief of the country. King Ugrasena was the overlord of many dynasties and happened to be the grandfather of Krishna. So Krishna asked Satyajit to present the Shyamataka jewel to King Ugrasena. Krishna pleaded that the best should be offered to the king. But Satyajit, being a worshipper of the demigods,
had become too materialistic, and instead of accepting the request of Krishna, thought it wiser to worship the jewel to get the 170 pounds of gold every day. Materialistic persons who can achieve such huge quantities of gold are not interested in Krishna consciousness. Sometimes, therefore, to show special favor, Krishna takes away one's great accumulations of materialistic wealth and thus makes one a great devotee. But Satyajit refused to abide by the order of Krishna and did not deliver the jewel. After this incident, Satyajit's younger brother, in order to display the opulence of the family, took the jewel, put it on his neck, and rode on horseback into the forest, making a show of his material opulence. While Satyajit's brother, who was known as Prasena, was moving here and there in the forest, a big lion attacked him, killing both him and the horse on which he was riding, and took away the jewel to his cave. News of this was received by the gorilla king, Jambavan, who then killed that lion in the cave and took away the jewel. Jambavan had been a great devotee of the Lord since the time of Lord Ramachandra, so he did not take the valuable jewel as something he very much needed. He gave it to his young son to play with as a toy. In the city, when Satyajit's younger brother Prasena did not return from the forest with the jewel, Satyajit became very upset. He did not know that his brother had been killed by a lion and that the lion had been killed by Jambavan. He thought instead that because Krishna wanted that jewel, which had not been delivered to him, Krishna might have therefore taken the jewel from Prasena by force and killed him. This idea grew into a rumor which Satyajit spread in every part of Dwaraka. The false rumor that Krishna had killed Prasena and taken away the jewel spread everywhere like wildfire. Krishna did not like to be defamed in that way, and therefore he decided that he would go to the forest and find the Shyamataka jewel. Taking with him some of the important inhabitants of Dwaraka, Krishna went to search out Prasena, the brother of Satyajit, and found him dead, killed by the lion. At the same time, Krishna also found the lion killed by Jambavan, who is generally called Riksha. It was found that the lion had been killed by the hand of Riksha without the assistance of any weapon. Krishna and citizens of Dwaraka then found in the forest a great tunnel, said to be the path to Riksha's house. Krishna knew that the inhabitants of Dwaraka would be afraid
to enter the tunnel. Therefore he asked them to remain outside, and he himself entered the dark tunnel alone to find Riksha, Jambavan. After entering the tunnel, Krishna saw that the valuable jewel known as Shyamataka had been given to the son of Riksha as a toy. To take the jewel from the child, Krishna approached and stood before him. When the nurse taking care of Riksha's child saw Krishna standing before her, she was afraid, thinking he might take away the valuable Shyamataka jewel, and she began to cry loudly out of fear. Hearing the nurse crying, Jambavan appeared on the scene in a very angry mood. Jambavan was actually a great devotee of Lord Krishna, but because he was angry he could not recognize his master and thought him to be an ordinary man. This brings to mind the statement of the Bhagavad Gita in which the Lord advises Arjuna to get free from anger, greed and lust in order to rise to the spiritual platform. Lust, anger and greed run parallel in the heart and check one's progress on the spiritual path. Not recognizing his master, Jambavan first challenged him to fight. There was then a great fight between Krishna and Jambavan, in which they fought like two opposing vultures. Whenever there is an eatable corpse, the vultures fight heartily over the prey. Krishna and Jambavan first of all began fighting with weapons, then with stones, then with big trees, then hand to hand, until at last they were hitting one another with their fists, their blows like the striking of thunderbolts. Each expecting victory over the other, but the fighting continued for days, both in daytime and at night, without stopping. In this way the fighting continued for 28 days. Although Jambavan was the strongest living entity of that time, practically all the joints of his bodily limbs became slackened and his strength reduced to practically nil, for he was struck constantly by the fists of Sri Krishna. Feeling very tired, with perspiration all over his body, Jambavan was astonished. Who was this opponent who was weakening him? Jambavan was quite aware of his own superhuman bodily strength, but when he felt tired from being struck by Krishna, he could understand that Krishna was no one else but his worshipful Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This incident has special significance for devotees. In the beginning, Jambavan could not understand Krishna because his vision was obscured by material attachment. He was attached to his boy
and to the greatly valuable Shamataka jewel, which he did not want to spare for Krishna. In fact, when Krishna came there, he was angry, thinking that Krishna had come to take away the jewel. This is the material position. Although one is very strong in body, that cannot help him understand Krishna. In a sporting attitude, Krishna wanted to engage in a mock fight with his devotee. As we have experienced from the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has all the propensities and instincts of a human being. Sometimes in a sportive spirit, he wishes to fight to make a show of bodily strength. And when he so desires, he selects one of his suitable devotees to give him that pleasure. Krishna desired this pleasure of mock fighting with Jambavan. Although Jambavan was a devotee by nature, he was without knowledge of Krishna while giving service to the Lord by his bodily strength. But as soon as Krishna was pleased by the fighting, Jambavan immediately understood that his opponent was none other than the Supreme Lord himself. The conclusion is that he could understand Krishna by his service, for Krishna is sometimes satisfied by fighting also. Jambavan therefore said to the Lord, "My dear Lord, I can now understand who you are. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Vishnu, the source of everyone's strength, wealth, reputation, beauty, wisdom and renunciation." This statement of Jambavan is confirmed by the Vedanta Sutra, wherein the Supreme Lord is declared to be the source of everything. Jambavan identified Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality, Lord Vishnu. My dear Lord, you are the creator of the creators of the universal affairs. This statement is very instructive to the ordinary man, who is amazed by the activities of a person with an exceptional brain. The ordinary man is surprised to see the inventions of a great scientist. But the statement of Jambavan confirms that although a scientist may be a creator of many wonderful things, Krishna is the creator of the scientist. He is the creator of not only one scientist, but of millions and trillions all over the universe. Jambavan said further, "Not only are you the creator of the creators, but you are also the creator of the material elements which the so-called creators manipulate. Scientists utilize the physical elements or laws of material nature to do something wonderful, but actually such laws and elements are also the creation of Krishna. This is actual scientific understanding. Less intelligent men
do not try to understand who created the brain of the scientist. They are satisfied simply to see the wonderful creation or invention of the scientist." Jambavan continued, "My dear Lord, the time factor, which combines all the physical elements, is also your representative. You are the supreme time factor in which all creation takes place, is maintained, and is finally annihilated. And beyond the physical elements and the time factor, the persons who manipulate the ingredients and advantages of creation are part and parcel of you. The living entity is not, therefore, an independent creator. By studying all factors in the right perspective, one can see that you are the supreme controller and Lord of everything. My dear Lord, I can therefore understand that you are the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, whom I worship as Lord Ramachandra. My Lord Ramachandra wanted to construct a bridge over the ocean, and I saw personally how the ocean became agitated simply by my Lord's glancing over it. And when the whole ocean became agitated, the living entities like the whales, alligators, and Timingala fish all became perturbed. Brackets. Timingala fish in the ocean can swallow big aquatics like whales in one gulp. In this way, the ocean was forced to give way and allow Ramachandra to cross to the island known as Lanka, now supposed to be Ceylon. This now is Sri Lanka. Back to Sri Lanka. Yeah. This construction of a bridge over the ocean from Cape Comorin to Ceylon is still well known to everyone. After the construction of the bridge, a fire was set all over the kingdom of Ravana. During the fighting with Ravana, every part of Ravana's limb was slashed to pieces by your sharp arrows, and his head fell to the face of the earth. Now I can understand that you are none other than my Lord Ramachandra. No one else has such immeasurable strength. No one else could defeat me in this way. Unquote. Lord Krishna was satisfied by the prayers and statements of Jambavan, and to mitigate Jambavan's pain, he began to stroke the lotus palm of his hand all over Jambavan's body. Thus, Jambavan at once felt relieved from the fatigue of the great fight. Lord Krishna then addressed him as King Jambavan, because he, and not the lion, was actually the king of the forest, having killed the lion with his naked hand, without a weapon. Krishna informed Jambavan that he had come to ask for the Shamataka jewel, because since the Shamataka jewel had been stolen, his name had been defamed by the less intelligent. Krishna plainly informed him. Oh, how are we doing?
5 seconds, 4 seconds.
4
to
seconds. What to do? We have to continue tomorrow. Are you?
Tomorrow.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, 7 there.
We strictly follow the
Hare
schedule
Krishna.
here. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, say something.
Who?
Just you.
Say something.
I should say something.
Say something.
Well, I hope you tried again today. Again, you tried to utilize every hour, every minute, every second in hearing, chanting, and remembering about Krishna, because this is a goal of life. That what gives us the real pleasure and happiness. So now we have this opportunity. So let's use this opportunity.
Sure.
Thank you very much. See you tomorrow.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.